Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you all how to create an AI architecture where you can chat with your database which has multiple tables. For example, here I have a database file known as data.db. I'm going to load that. As you can see here, there are multiple tables and there are multiple schemas and there are some values in here, and we can ask questions in this database. Let's ask something like, who are the top 5 artists based on the albums? And as you can see here, finally it is saying like Iron Maiden, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Metallica, U2. It's not even returning the database, it is giving an answer because I have given a two-step process to generate this answer. And in this video, I'm going to show you all how you can create an architecture like this. Let's start with the coding now. So let's start with the imports first. And here are the imports which are required for this specific architecture. You need SQL Database because we are working with SQL Database. You need SQL Database. And for that, you need to have Langchain community package installed, in which inside the utilities module, there is SQL Database. You need to have Groq. I think the people who are following the channel might know that Groq is the favorite inference engine for me because it is free and it is fast in nature. But if you don't, please create an account in console.groq.com/playground website and get your API key there. Next, you have Langchain prompts, in which you need the prompt template. And we are also importing LLM chain and create SQL query chain because you need to provide the SQL query to the database. And LLM chain, it is for a different reason, which I'll show later. And to get the .env and then load that, we are importing find.env and load.env functions. Finally, OS is imported along with Streamlit. The first thing would be to load the database. Let's do some helper function and then write the main function, okay? First is to load the database, for which you can follow this function. Okay. So from SQL Database, from URI, where it will create an engine, SQL Alchemy engine from this URI, where it will be SQLite and 3/ along with the DB name, which we'll provide via the UI. Okay. So you have your DB. Next, what would you need? Since you have your DB, the next step would be to create a SQL query chain so that you can give your query to that DB. So let's create chain create DB, and in here we have chat Groq, in which the model name is passed to be Mixtral 8x7b38 32,768 because 32,768 is the context length of the model, and we are also providing the API key from the .env file. So for .env file, just go create the .env file. No extension needed. Just click new file and write the name as .env and put your API key as Groq API key equal to the API key name. And if you pass this LLM and this DB, which we'll get as parameter here, the SQL query chain will be created. So this function is to create a SQL query chain to execute queries. Okay. So now this is also done. What is the next step? See, you are having your SQL query chain, which means you will get the relevant data, but to answer based on the data. For example, when I asked something like, who are the top 5 run getters in the IPL? It will give top 5 run getters complete data, but we need only the name. For that, we need another chain which will answer based on the retrieved data. And for that, we'll write another function known as SQL info. So for this, we'll have a function known as SQL info. And here you can see there is parameters DB, chain, and user question. So what are those? DB is nothing but your DB here. And chain is your query chain. Like you are executing your query onto the database, right? That chain. Along with that, we are also having the user question. Okay. So what happens is, when a user provides a question, once you give the question, the Mixtral model, which is running on the Groq inference engine, tries to write a SQL query based on it. For example, if I'm asking who are the top 5 singers in the current world, it will see, like, if I'm not giving any other parameter, obviously it is gonna go alphabetically in the database. So it will say A, B, B, C, something like that, right? So for that, it will write a SQL query. That is an expected answer, and it will write a SQL query for it. So once it writes a SQL query, which happens in this chain.invoke function, where you are passing the parameter of question to be user's question, which also will get in the UI, you are running this in the database. Okay, so this database is your SQL database, and you're running in that with your query, which you get from the chain.invoke function. If you get that, you'll get your result. And if you wanna see your like what is your result just by querying, you can do print result and print type of result. And if you don't want that, just remove it. Okay, now you have your retrieved data. But if you want it to be a chat, it should respond, right? Not like just give answer, a retrieved answer. So for that, what we are doing is, here we are giving a prompt template from template, given the following user question, which we'll provide inside, and the corresponding SQL query and result. Generate a proper reply to the user. So you have the query, you have the question provided, and the result. So based on this question and generated query and the result, we are expecting the model to give an answer to the question. Okay, so that is the idea of this prompt. So for this, again, we are using chat Groq, in which we are providing the same parameters, and here we are using a normal LLM chain. Okay, it is probably the base class of all other chains, even the SQL query chain and all. It will be slightly adapted for running SQL queries, creating SQL queries rather. Okay, so here we are providing the model and the prompt as well, and here to that LLM we'll be providing the inputs. Question, for which we are having user question. Next we have query here. So for this query, we'll provide the SQL query which was generated previously by using the SQL query chain, which we initialized in here, chain create, okay, which was passed as parameter again here. Next we'll provide the result which we got when we are running this SQL query in the database. All three are provided to the LLM, and the output will be in the name of text, and we'll return that from this function SQL infer. Okay, so these are the helper functions which are required for the application. And now let's start with the main function. Helper function completed, starting with the main function. So here what we'll do is, here we'll set the page config with page title to be, page icon to be this one, because this looks something like analytics. So I thought, okay, this should be better. Okay, and for layout we'll use it as wide because we'll use columns in this. And then next we have page title as well, for which we'll provide it as database administrator. Okay, so next we'll give a title. Since we are using Mixtral and inside Groq, and this works with a database, we'll provide it as Mixtral database administrator feed Groq, featuring Groq inference engine. I love Groq actually. It enables me to do a lot of creative applications which were always my imagination. Due to computation issues, I was never able to create that kind of application. For example, InfoGenie, which is an application where you can give any question to the model and it will be able to answer to all of those questions. So those all were possible, that too for free, only by using Mixtral database, Groq. Even I created a stock analysis company, and that was also by using Groq. So if you are wondering what these are all, I'll give the link in the description. You can check it out. Okay, st.columns, and here we are gonna create a container which will have 2 parts to the first column and 3 parts to the second column. So what will happen is, the one page will be divided into 5 parts, and 2 parts will be provided to the first column container, and the second container will have 3 parts. Okay, so for this, what you need to do is create a column 1. We'll take file name because we need to provide a file name in here for this load DB, right? So for this, what we are going to do is give a file name st.load text input where we'll ask to enter a name of a DB file. Okay, so here we'll give a button. If they click this button, load database, what we'll do is we'll load the database with this file name provided, and we'll also create a chain using the chain create function with this database. Okay, so now we need to know what are the tables available in that, what are the schema of the table. So for that, what we can do is call st.subheader function to just show this is table names, and inside that you'll have st.code function. So why we need this code instead of write is it will create a beautiful box. Inside that there will be some coloring and all, which will be very good to look actually. Inside this DB, there is a function known as get usable table names. Okay, so if you call that, it will give all the table names which are there in the database, because there are lots of people who have been asking me how to work with multiple tables. Okay, in my database there are multiple tables, so how can I work with that? Because that foreign key thing works with multiple tables, right? So people are wondering how to work with that. So that's why I'm creating this part 2 video of chatting with database and all. Okay, so st.subheader again, where I need to see the schema of the database with all the tables in it. So for which, again, there is another function in that itself, in the DB itself, db dot get table info. Sorry, if you call this, it will give all the table info. But if you provide the table name and all, it will give the information only of the table. Okay, but we are not providing any table names, which means it will provide the value for all the tables. Now, the first column is completed. Okay, so for the second column, what we'll do is if the file name is not empty, okay, and that is where we'll load the database again. Why it is needed? See, the problem with Streamlit containers is if you create this DB and chain inside this, right, what happens is actually here the chain is also not needed. What happens is here these variables are just for this container. Inside this container only these variables are available. For example, this DB variable will be available only within this container, and if I use with outside of this container, it will say local reference variable is not there. Okay, so when you have Streamlit applications, please make sure that if you are having a variable which is there in two container, somehow you need to have it on both containers as well, not just have it in one container and reference it in another. Okay, so that's why I'm loading the DB again with the file name, and here we are creating the chain. Previously the chain was not needed, chain create of DB. Okay, so since these both are done, we need to get the question of the user. Okay, so for this we'll give a text input option. What is this? So here we'll say write a question about the data, and for future references what we'll do is we'll give a key as well. This is always just to reference which input you are saying about. Okay, here we'll give it as question, but if you wish, okay, I don't want this reference and all, no problem at all. Okay, so now again what we'll do is we'll create a button where the user need to click get answer, and if the user clicks that, even you can provide the key and all for button as well if you have multiple buttons, and if you think, okay, I will need a reference later. Okay, so here it is not always you will get the correct query at the first attempt, so we'll give probably 5 attempts for the model, 5 chances. Okay, so if the question is there, we'll create an attempt variable to show which attempt is this now, and the max attempt is 5. Okay, while the attempt is less than the max attempts, we'll have a try catch block. Okay, for the try catch block, what we'll do is in try we'll call the SQL info function, because if you see in the SQL info function only we are providing the database, we are providing the chain and the question, where once you provide the question, the SQL query is generated against the database, the query is run here, and then based on the return results, the model answers the question here. So all happens in the SQL info function. So what we are going to do is we'll get the out in here with SQL info function with all the parameters provided, DB, chain, and then question. In subheader, we'll write it as probably answer, and we'll write the output. Don't forget to add a break statement, because if, for example, you're lucky and you got the answer in the first attempt itself, you need not run it again and again, right? Or else it will write again and again. So have a break statement, and for exception as st dot error of e. Okay, so here what we'll do is we'll add these. Okay, so here what we are doing is, since you're going into the except, you're increasing the attempt, right? It is starting with 0. Here you're making it as 1, so it will be 1 by 5. So we are just trying to see which attempt it is failing, and that's what shows here. And if you have reached the max attempt, it will just, like, stop. That's all. Until then it will just continue. Okay, so that is done. And finally we'll have the main function called, all the main function. So for this, it is if name equal to dunder main, and inside this we'll call main function. Okay, since we don't have any parameters, that won't be needed. And that is how you create your own SQL database agent. Okay, I hope this would run now. I'm running. So let's see. Here it is asking a DB file. Guys, I have provided a DB file already in the repository as well. You can download it from there, the same database. Okay, data.db, and here we'll load the DB. And here there are a lot of table names in it: albums, artists, customers, employees, genres, invoice items, invoices, media types, playlist tracks. Okay, so let's ask a question: list the top 5 playlists. Hopefully it should work. Yeah, it's working. That's great. Okay, so here it is saying, but what I'm not able to understand is, it is saying music, movies, TV show, audiobooks, 90s music. So let's see what result it is returning here. And now I have added a st.code of SQL query inside that code itself, so that we'll be able to see what is the code being generated in this specific application. Okay, so now let's go into the application again, and let's give some query. Okay, so for example, here let's give this one: give the top 5 employees birth on top 5 employees based on. So let's give a parameter here. Support rep ID. Probably will give it as support rep ID. Now it is not giving an answer here. And yeah, in the second attempt, it gave the answer. Select star from customers where support rep ID is not null, limit is 5. Okay, so it's working. And now let's give some other questions as well. For example, okay, let's give this: what are the top 5 invoices based on the invoice ID? Give the invoices in ascending order based on the invoice ID. Since it is a large database, I think it will take time here. Let's see. Here's a list of all invoices sorted. This can be used for viewing. What? Okay, let's see the result also now, like whatever result it is returning. Let's add a code in there. Okay, what we are going to do is we'll add st dot write of result. Okay, we'll add this result as well. Now let's see how it is working. Rerun. We'll get the answer as well now. Oh yeah, this is too huge. No wonder it is able to identify that this is in an ascending order. That's good actually. So what we'll do is we'll try another query. Okay, so here we have tracks, right? Give the tracks ascending order based on, let's give a foreign key there. Okay, which should be exposed. Based on probably album ID. Okay, we'll give it as album ID, or genre ID is better. Genre ID. Let's see if it is giving. Oh, I think it is working actually. Hopefully, I don't know, now it is taking slow. Yeah, actually, I think system hang up. It is not able to, like, I'm not able to do anything here. Probably we'll cut this and we'll go to the VS Code itself. Okay. Oh, okay. It is able to give me something. Oh, it is giving me everything actually. And here you can see actually the foreign key is actually working. And now I don't know what again the LLM is going to say, but it is taking long time, but it will work. Okay, but that is how you create an architecture where you can chat with your database, which has multiple tables and foreign keys in it, where there are some keys which are common in both. And here, as you can see, I just tried a lot of questions with multiple keys in it, and the model was able to see, like, generate this big answer. And finally, like, here you can see it became unresponsive because it is too huge, right? Let's give weight probably. Hopefully it will do. Until then, I'll do a time lapse. And guys, for some reason again my system hung up, and let me stop the run here. Probably you can try to run and let me know what happened. But that is how you can chat with a database which has multiple tables. And now I'm gonna stop this execution. Okay, I'm stopping that. I've deleted it, deleted this, and this is the code for you all. Okay, new app.py, which has all the functions in it. And the good thing is we have created this big application, that too within 100 lines of code. And I hope this would be very useful for you all in your whatever things you are doing. Okay, I have ideas for expanding this application, and I'll let you know of those very soon. Okay, so guys, recently our channel got membership being enabled, and in that membership I'm gonna do a lot of things exclusive for those. Still, I have my own ethics to give free content. The contents will be free, but based on the tier, I'll give some exclusive things for them only, where it will be a personal training, where I'll give a personalized training for them, like not just giving a roadmap. I'll be following them. I'll give some tasks. I'll give completion date. I'll follow up with them. Everything will be done. A personalized one-on-one discussion, personalized training. Everything will be done in one slab, which is $5.99. And then the second slab, which is, I think, value for money slab, $159, where I'll go membership only live a lot of times, where once I do preparation for a video, like for example, I have an expansion idea for this to become a big startup kind of an idea. I have a big startup kind of an idea, for which this is the base, and I'll build that kind of a startup in live itself, where you will see like me facing the errors, how I solve it, how I reference the resources, so that you'll be able to do along with me and all. Instead of just watching the video, you can ask me questions, whatever you have, everything will be there. I will create an exclusive WhatsApp group for those people. So these are something which you will get something very exclusive in membership. And if you have any doubts on these membership, please DM me via Telegram. I'll be more than happy to answer you all. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you all got something in this video. If you all think, okay, this video was very helpful, please hit the like button. It is free for you all, but does a lot of wonder for me. So that will be very helpful. I hope you all hit the like button by now. And please hit the subscribe button, because 70% of my viewers are not subscribed, and it is free. Whenever you feel, okay, he's not providing good content, you can unsubscribe me. And most importantly, share it with your friends and communities who you think this might find this videos useful. So yeah, guys, I'll see you all in another video. Until then, cheers.